Look at this guy. What would you do if your son came out of the closet? I'll send him back in. Why is he asking me what's the closet coming out of closet? So he was hiding, he came out, go back into hiding.
If you get to heaven, write this down, you get to heaven and you don't find me there, you have gone to hell. That's not heaven.
In my clan, if we find you introducing a man to another man, Mama!
You hate me, I hate you. You love me, I love you. Bring me flowers, I will deliver flowers. Huh? Look for me, I will look for you under your bed. Period.
More. And so Kenyans will be even in a deeper shit. Oh, no, that is not parliamentary. I'm sorry. Parliament will be in a deeper hole. That hole, that big hole.
What is your gender? My gender? I'm a mechanic. Mechanic. That is your gender.
Your vision and problem, please. Talk, please.
I have a confession. I am a Christian, but I'm gay.
Hey!
Verse 1. In the beginning, yeah.
If you think you can graduate from this school without kissing my cock, you are dead wrong.
Oh, first and foremost, we are used to stay outside. The cause of it, some of the structures, there are like this one. It end up.
It's day 20 and we're celebrating. However, if you're not a member of the LGBTQIA+ community or an ally, please keep scrolling. You can go right now. Okay, are they gone? Yes, y'all, the day is finally here. Welcome back to another Daily Gate Agenda meeting. You're the Snacks, I'm Emil, and I officially call this meeting into session. Today is special because it's my wedding anniversary, and on today's agenda, it's all about the wedding. So before we kick it off, I want to say happy anniversary, and also I'm actually gonna put on the sleep mask that I wore the night before our wedding, so my lips were nice and juicy. I also just wear this on the daily because it keeps my lips nice and soft. From Laneige is my favorite. Let's go ahead and take a trip down memory lane, and I'm actually going to show you a video of me walking down the aisle after our wedding got rained out and we have to move everything inside. It really was one of the best memories of my life, and I just want to say happy anniversary to us. Oh, by the way, you might be wondering, where's my husband? Well, he's still traveling for work, but you will meet him very soon. Now, next on the agenda, we're going right into the snack of the day. Snack of the day is actually Kingston. So Kingston wasn't able to be at our wedding. He had his own drink. So even though he wasn't there, we had the belly rub as our signature drink. That's you. All right, so the meeting was a little different this time, but as always, we end our meeting with fan clacks and a song, and this ending is going to be a little special. Thank you all so much for celebrating with me in Kingston. This meeting has officially been adjourned. I'll see y'all tomorrow. It's okay.
I want to talk to two different versions of queer people when it comes to dating. So if you're person one, you often like just leave relationships and you aren't able to keep a good connection. Any connection that you end up getting is bad and is really harmful to you. But you are never able to have a good one because you keep like kind of running away from it. So a lot of people mischaracterize you as evil, as someone who just is stupid and doesn't care about themselves, but you're operating from a place of pain and hurt. And I encourage you to explore where this pain and hurt comes from, explore why you keep having your certain tendencies when it comes to forming friendships, relationships, and other type of connections with people. That way you can connect with people and get the love that you deserve, because you do deserve love. You do deserve to feel safe. But you got to understand that safety is going to feel very raw and very vulnerable if you're not used to someone actually holding space for you, listening to you, and not antagonizing you, because it's going to be very, very different. And you have to be understanding of that and try to sit with that instead of running away from it. That's a person who's in front of you and how they are. And so toward the other type of person, you find yourself constantly getting ghosted. You find yourself always with people who are emotionally available. You find yourself with people who just aren't ever able to reciprocate the type of love and passion that you share. You also have a little bit of accountability. If you keep finding yourself in that situation, you have to improve your discernment and quit talking to people like that. You can't have sympathy or empathy away from someone. You can't fix someone. You can't make someone else heal for you. You have to understand that it has to come from within, from that person, and have to want to do better. And it's better for you to be looking for someone who's going to reciprocate in the beginning rather than trying to build someone from the bottom up who may not even want to be built up in the first place. Because you're deserving of a love that just comes from the beginning and it comes pure for you. And both people, that y'all need to believe that love is possible for you, and you need to give up on the scarcity mindset. It's like, oh, well, there's only so many queer people, there's only so many X people, white people. Just don't do that. Because it's kind of like saying, oh my God, I'm going to drink gasoline because I don't have enough water around here. You don't ever drink gasoline. You still go and find the water that's going to be better for you and that's going to actually hydrate you. And you don't just start drinking gasoline. So please start believing different things. Now, I'm not a therapist. I'm just a person who's like reflects on things and thinks a lot about like the world and emotion, things like this. And I do encourage you to get a therapist to help you navigate through this, because it is very difficult. But you don't have access or the resources. You can just look into attachment theory, or you can look into different professionals talking about relationships. Don't listen to like some life coach or some random person. I know it's ironic me being a random person on the internet. It's a paradox, but I'm asking you to like go to those places where you can get like professional advice. And I'm just trying to be like an accessible, like a little gateway where you can go over and get that. Because I want you to find love, and I want every queer person to have better relationships. But we all have to reflect on ourselves. We have to heal, and we have to remove the scarcity mindset. And one last thing, you also got to understand healing is a process, and it's a lifelong process. If you're the first person and you just keep leaving people and you find yourself having ruined another relationship because you left again, that is okay, because it's not linear. You're not going to be perfect. And you got to commit to the fact that this is going to be something worth for a while. Same thing if you're a person who keeps clinging to people who don't reciprocate any energy back to you. Same thing. You got to forgive yourself as you're healing, as you're getting better, and just be committed to the process, even if it's messy, because it's going to be messy. All right. I love y'all. I need you to love yourselves, and I need you to reflect on yourself and what's within your capabilities to improve your ability to find love, relationships, and friendships, because you can do it. Anybody can do it. I didn't believe I could do it. I started working on my mindset, different things, and I got able to make better friendships. And I haven't got to the point of relationship mainly because I kind of cut that spot off. That's a whole different conversation because I'm in school and I'm trying to focus on getting school. Then I'll visit when I graduate. Anyways, the point is, you got this, okay? And stop not believing people when they say this shit to you. Okay? All right. Love you. Mwah.
I wasn't gonna post a video about it. I was gonna leave it alone, but fuck that. Since ICE looks like it's gonna keep doing its thing for at least another week, I gotta address it. Not our fight, 92%, FAFO, we're sitting this one out. Not only is it all signs of low intellect, but it's low vibrational. Solidarity has always existed and it will prevail. Solidarity has always existed and it will prevail. Yep, there's a lot of anti-blackness in this world. I'd say we're at the bottom of the social totem pole globally, okay? Now what? What does a random Latino bitch constantly getting on social media and saying the N-word and being racist have to do with ICE abducting children from your local elementary school, kidnapping men from the construction site up the road, tearing families apart, families that are more than likely indigenous to those lands in the first place? Maya Ayuni this, Maya Ayuni that, Maya could get on this bitch and call me a vine-swinging monkey man. What does that have to do with Hamza, Muhammad, and little Gracie getting their heads blown off by bombs dropped on them by my tax dollars, your tax dollars? Mind you, she ain't do nothing like that, wouldn't do anything like that. Y'all just hate her because she's Palestinian, and I guess we're not supposed to have the conversation about how pro-Israel a lot of you liberals are. I know it's popular amongst liberals to think that the real win comes from kicking up your feet and taunting victims of state violence, but I win when I understand that our struggles are interconnected, and standing up for the oppressed will always benefit those at the bottom of the social totem pole. I don't lose anything by doing that. I win. They lose. Okay, the isolationists, the racist liberals, the colorists, the 92%ers, the not our fighters. They get to have their little social media clapbacks online at the expense of the 22,000 black migrants deported last year. At the expense of documented Latinos who get deported by ICE because you have papers and you have nothing to worry about, right? Even though it's not gonna matter. No matter how crazy them people act, solidarity has always existed and it will prevail. This man used to project videos at rallies to his people of black Americans being brutalized by the police while we were protesting for civil rights to make sure they knew just how barbarically we were treated in the Western world. It was important to him to educate his people on our struggle. In times where teachers would have lost their jobs for talking about the racism right outside their classroom doors, whole countries were making sure to tell our stories, but they don't teach us that. I'm gonna read y'all a quote from someone else. The Negroes were the last to be freed from slavery, and they still bear, more than anyone else, the cruel marks of slavery. Everyone knows that the position of the Negroes in America in general is one unworthy of a civilized country. Capitalism cannot give complete emancipation or complete equality. Shame on America for the plight of the Negro. A quote from Vladimir Lenin, first chairman of the USSR. Even when you look at the history of the Black Panther Party, the Rainbow Coalition, the White Panthers, chapters expanded into various communities, not just domestically, but around the globe. Algeria, Cuba, Vietnam, Korea! Yeah, let's wake that up, because I was supposed to make a whole video about that a few weeks ago. I gotta get back on that. North Korea. Yeah, see, y'all are so busy letting the CIA fearmonger y'all about that place. The whole time, they had whole chapters for us up there, and we went! Don't ever fix your dusty, crusty, dry lips to speak falsehoods and fables on solidarity. They hate us everywhere, man. They hate us everywhere. White supremacy has touched most this globe, so anti-blackness is global, but they do not hate us everywhere. One day, y'all are gonna learn that. There are people who would literally die for you, die for your community. Whether that be ethnic, national, racial. Just because it's not a fuck ton of people, just because it's not as much people as we would like it to be, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Just because three-letter organizations won that battle years ago and our country tends to cut itself off from anywhere in the world that isn't the global West doesn't mean it doesn't exist. All that nationalism and isolation BS, not over here. That is not what my revolutionaries learned. That is not what my revolutionaries teached.
Josh, would you say Lord Richard is a super graphic, ultra modern girl?
Definitely.
Do you know what that means?
I have absolutely no idea what that means.
Hi, I'm Ananaya. I'm here with the cast of the Buccaneers, and I'm going to figure out if their characters are gay, straight, or somewhere in between. Josie, would Mabel be friends with this man?
Yes, she would love him, and I think they would like hang out together in his Australian, well-decorated home.
Right. That would be a dream.
And like they'd like
Right.
craft and like build
Right.
furniture
There's
together.
something about that, something about the fruit fly of it all. I live.
Yeah.
Alicia, would Conchita wear small top and big pants, or big top and small pants going out?
Small, no. She would be small on both ends.
We all know that girl.
We love that girl.
Yeah.
She's confident.
Alicia,
Yes.
what does Conchita hold space for?
Dick.
Oh,
Oh, his name is Dick in the show.
I also hold a lot of space for Dick, but you don't see me on Apple TV. Okay. What's Lord Richard's go-to coffee order?
Frappuccino.
more
It'd be like
cream?
mostly
Yeah.
cream with a little bit of coffee.
I just want to make sure we get this on camera. You're proud of that?
I'm very proud of that.
Would Mabel turn 19 in Poland, and would she know what that means?
She did we go to school? Did our characters go to get educated? Would they know what anything means?
No. We were straight to finding
I think
men.
we're illiterate.
Yeah, we are
'Cause
illiterate.
we don't read in the show.
You never see us read.
Alicia, does Conchita take more or less than 2 weeks to say I love you?
She takes less. She's like within 6 hours.
Yeah, I know a couple of girls. I'm going to guess if your characters are gay, straight, or somewhere in between. Alicia, your character has something going on in the middle. I'm happy about that. Yeah, we're clocking you in as gay.
It's because I wore a suit.
I don't know. I think your character is probably heterosexual,
But
much
would
to my
be
dismay.
down.
But would
loves a
be
doll.
down.
But loves a doll.
Metrosexual.
Season 2 of The Buccaneers is now streaming on Apple TV Plus.
The fact that so many people don't give a fuck about disability politics, despite the fact that 27.2% of the population has a disability, representing 3 in 4 households, more than 3 in 4 households, is not an oversight. That is ableism. When disabled people said your own ableism is killing you, this is what we mean. And also the fact of the matter is that the 1918 flu pandemic had almost the exact same trajectory that we are on now. And everybody told disabled people to shut the fuck up about it the entire time. Warning after warning after warning from people who, many of whom are now dead. The COVID-19 expanded protections were the only things that were keeping you all from full-blown fascism. And the rise in eugenics due to a survivorship bias. And before you all say that only the government can do eugenics, only the government can have eugenicist feelings about you, shut up. Because if you listen very closely, the language that they're using to take away everybody's healthcare is the stuff that you say to disabled people all the fucking time. That's what we meant when we said you all look down upon disabled people, but they think you're disabled. Because every single marginalization in this country is tied inextricably to ableism, no matter who you are. Unless you are a straight, white, able-bodied man that is rich, disability is your problem too. Just because you laugh and clap at a disabled person in a video or think that disabled people going to concerts and events are the thing, no. We're your entertainment. We're what you use to make yourself feel good by comparison. You don't actually respect the politics of disabled people. Because if you think that the politics of disabled people begins and ends with us just drawing breath, you have not at all been paying the fuck attention. Before I get in the comment section, I can't possibly, I have this identity, I have that identity. Every single identity in the United States, in order to celebrate themselves, the pathway to that is through eugenics. Like, think real hard on that.
The problem with he and lesbian discourse is that you're trying to understand a culture with a decade's worth of life experience with the first sentence that you find on Google. Disclaimer, if you comment before you watch the video, I will block you. I want to get the biggest boogeyman of he, him lesbians, and it's a cis straight man pretending to be lesbian to get woman, which is Drake. Yeah, you're a lesbian girl, me too. I believe with that thought process, we're ignoring people that are non-binary, men and women that are trans and gender fluid people, and it's because they have an untraditional background when it comes to the love regarding women. They didn't grow up as cis straight men. They didn't grow up with the same experience as cis straight men have, so they can't identify with being similar to a cis straight man. So you might ask, why can't they just call them bisexual or pansexual or any other sexuality, right? And that's where the culture part comes in. I would never police a lesbian calling themselves gay, because culturally, I understand why most queer people would call themselves gay. Gay as a word is another umbrella term for a lot of people to describe themselves, whether it's lighthearted or not. And people understand it as an umbrella term even when it's contradictory to its known definition with man loving a man. So if you can understand people using the word gay as an umbrella term to describe their experience, Why can't people use lesbian as an umbrella term also to describe their experience? Something I see is that the more mainstream queer culture gets, the more people try to understand it from a heteronormative point of view, and that's not how you're supposed to look at it. From the good words of my homie Sage, a lot of y'all are not trying to accept different perspectives. A lot of y'all are breaking it down into something that fits your own worldview.
Being queer, I believe it's all about challenging what I grew up with and what I was comfortable with and accepting new ideas. So whenever this discourse gets brought back up, it always feels mad anti-queer to me. It just feels like you're trying to police people on their identities, right? And that's just weird to me if I identify being queer. You know, it's just a little bit weird to me.
About this discourse, it always happens right before Pride Month too. That's all I'm saying. Yo, watch at the end of May, this discourse is gonna get brought back up again, but it's been on my For You page a little bit, but
when a DL man dies, he's actually reincarnated as a homophobic woman. Now, that woman has two missions on Earth. The first is to unlearn homophobia, and the second one is to not marry a gay man. She will inevitably fail these missions and then die and reincarnate as a DL man. Yes, he's given the exact same two missions. Number one, to unlearn homophobia, and number two, to not marry a woman, which he will also inevitably fail and then die and reincarnate as a homophobic woman. They will continue to reincarnate in this cycle forever until in one lifetime they achieve those missions and they reach nirvana. Unfortunately, most people will never reach there and are stuck in this perpetual cycle. So that's why I don't ever say go to hell, because they're already in one. I want to say that a witch has to curse your bloodline for this to happen, but honestly, for a lot of y'all, I think it manifests naturally. And the funny thing is, every time a couple forms where the girl says he know where home at and the boy says home is the bathhouse, they automatically lose the missions. The wedding vows were, I will find you in every lifetime, and now you quite literally will, until the eventual heat death of the universe. You're stuck here, babes, and that shit sucks. And you can really tell just how long someone's been cursed. For example, Candace Owens, that girl's on at least incarnation number 17. Same thing with J.K. Rowling. How did you think of Harry Potter? She has been here for quite some time. She's had a long time to think about that. There is, however, one other way to escape this life cycle. It's for the DL man to claim the soul of 10,000 bottoms across his lifetimes. Every single time you whine and pine over a DL man, he claims your soul and is one step closer to everlasting paradise. Mind you, you're going to hell. But once again, pining over a DL man, you're kind of already there.
Donald Trump is going to deport 500,000 Haitians who are here in the country legally. They are legal immigrants. He's going to deport them because the Supreme Court sided with him, and the federal judges can no longer do injunctions against him trying to fuck up birthright citizenship, so he's probably going to fuck that up too. And since ICE is basically the Gestapo, they're probably going to deport a bunch of black people as well. There's no way they're not going to do that. They're going to be like, you look like you're from Haiti, dog. And motherfuckers going to be like, nigga, I'm from Georgia. All my family's from Georgia. I'm a descendant of slaves from Georgia. It's not gonna matter. ICE is gonna round you up too, dog. Like that shit is, this is so fucked. Ooh, it's bad. Ooh, it's bad. Like, we all know that ICE is gonna just start rounding up black people at random. Like, there's no way they're gonna investigate who and who isn't from Haiti. Like, these niggas are the Gestapo. They're not organized. Donald Trump just told them to go after niggas, basically. Like, that's basically what he said, because he deported 500,000 Haitians who are here illegally, dude. This is fucked. This is fucked. And they're gonna be able to target birthright citizenship at the same fucking time, dude. Brother, I'm telling you right now, and I'm gonna hold your balls when I say this. This affects everybody not white. This decision he's making right now to deport 500,000 black people, basically, this affects everybody not white. This affects everybody not white, because they can target birthright citizenship at the same time since the Supreme Court sided with them. This affects everybody not white. Unbrush. I have to do this so my video actually gets into the algorithm. Unbrush, Ko-Fi, YouTube channel. Bye.
I had a little sister that passed away back in 2009, and when I came out about some years later on down the line to my parents, you know, my dad was like, you know, you're my son, I love you, and that's it. My mom, on the other hand, I do love my mom. I've forgiven her for this, though, and everything, though, but she was like, if you ever get a boyfriend, it would be like losing you, and we've already lost one in the family. This is something that unfortunately still sticks with me to this day. It is something that I unfortunately have to carry And I had to remember that my own mother said something like this. Imagine your own mother, right? The woman who raised you, say something like this. Say that you're dead to me if you ever get a boyfriend. It doesn't make any sense. And this comment right here is saying that I chose to be bi. And I replied to the comment though, but like I'm gonna reply to it in this video. Imagine forcing yourself to be attracted to somebody or to people that you're not attracted to. It's not gonna work. It's just not gonna work, bro. I never chose to be bisexual. I've always been bisexual ever since I was a kid. And that hasn't changed. That hasn't changed. What people are doing is that they're picking and choosing specific, quote unquote, what they call sins. You know what I mean? And to make their sins seem like they're not so bad. You know what I mean? These people are just being hypocrites within their own religious beliefs. And it's absolutely disgusting because I used to be just like that. Usually people who obsess over mainly this specific sin, because there's many other sins that they do to a day-to-day basis. You know what I mean? To a day-to-day basis. And sometimes they might not even realize it. And a lot of times they actually do. They just think that if they ask for forgiveness, everything's going to be all well. But the reason why a lot of them focus on homosexuality is the truth is they're queer themselves. And they hate that about themselves. And they think that coming to a specific religion is going to fix that. You know what I mean? And this is the struggle that my character from issue number 2 of Battle Chi, you know, has to go through. You know what I'm saying? Like, his mother, you know, he went through a similar thing that he had to go through with my mother, if that makes sense though, because I wanted to kind of share that experience with people. And, you know, you might not be able to relate, but maybe you can understand. People on the internet are homophobic, racist. My mind is like, yo, the amount of racism, the amount of homophobia, the amount of transphobia, the amount of people that are so fixated, that claim that they're straight, that are so fixated on, like, especially, you know, gays, queers, or whatever, you know what I mean? You just exposing yourself at this point though, but you know, y'all have a good day.
Imagine having a disability and people's perception of you is automatically that you're not capable. So you constantly have to prove them wrong and let them know, hey, I'm able to do it on my own. So what's something that you had to struggle with and prove somebody wrong with? And the whole reason for me saying this is because I am the author of this book, Yellow Flowers for the Living, and I struggle with the disability. I have cerebral palsy. Well, I created this book because I wanted to let people know that I see them in their experiences and the things that they go through and the things they struggle with. And we make it through those struggles every day. We deserve flowers while we can still smell them. So I wrote this poem called Disability, just to express what it's like having a disability for me. So I have a disability that can affect your perceptibility to see me as anything less than disabled. Some may see it as a liability, but don't be deceived. These multiple abilities are God-given. So you just have to readjust your cerebral cortex to see past your ability to see what lies beyond the naked eye, the superhuman ability to rub words together to make fire like a caveman. So don't think it's strange if I touch your heart, mind, and soul. When I speak, it's not some cheap attempt at being relatable. I just have a relatability, a simple trait like humility and grace, and a lack of invulnerability. No matter the ability, I bleed a responsibility to show you that this disability was God-given. And even in my weakness, things may seem like an impossibility, but it's in Him I find my contentment, no matter the possibility. So to you, I may have a disability, but I have an ability to see many possibilities. So this book is available on TikTok Shop. Get a signed copy today by hitting that orange shopping cart.
How many straight friends do you have that are in my inner circle?
Yeah, it's hard.
Oh no, it's a few, and I'm doing the Lord's work, you know, because I got some of them flossing now. Got one of them a vasectomy because he had a kink. Amen. So we had to just fix that, you know.
Amen.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
I do have one straight friend. He's a DEI hire. Hi, I'm Ananiah. This is Gator. Today we have a very special guest. I'm literally fangirling. All right, let them know your name.
Bad bitch. Duran Bernard, your favorite grandma cousin on your daddy's side. I'm here with you. You look gorgeous.
Thank you. I'm gonna cry after this. This is everything. What is the name of Robert De Niro's trans daughter?
Taylor? No.
Aaron.
Aaron. I was close.
And this is she went from Aaron to Aaron.
Everybody's so creative.
And she's gorgeous. Aaron, come on the show. Can you name every Beyonce album?
Dangerously in Love, B-Day, the masterpiece.
Come on.
I'm Sasha Fierce. We won't talk about that. 4, the self-titled, of course, Lemonade, The Gift, and then Renaissance and Cowboy Carter.
Yes.
Yeah.
The gift wasn't even on the cards. Thank you.
Yeah.
Can you name a famous stud?
What's a girl? Young Ma.
Word. On the cards, Lena Waithe.
Lena is my wife spin.
Can you say that?
Wife spin.
Oh,
yes.
Can you say that? What was the first major city to elect an openly black gay woman?
Was that somewhere in California?
Mayor of Chicago, Lori Lightfoot.
That's right. She was talking about, oh yes, and that place is closed.
Do you think Katy Perry has actually kissed a girl? Can you say that?
I mean,
PR? I live.
I don't care.
I too have a hard time when it comes to the news of white women. And what's a tour that every gay person should be going to?
The You Gon' Grow 2 tour by Duran Bernard, okay? Because it's more than just a show. It's therapy, it's a kickback, it's Black graduation, it's improv.
It's a summit. Generous! I have some dates available. Okay, if I had to guess if you were gay, straight, or a homophobe, Pork Fountain Kitchen, I think you're gay.
I'm the F. F stands for run and find out. Sexual. Very fluid, but you know.
I'm gonna go to McDonald's and I'm gonna go to Starbucks and you're not gonna make me feel bad because I actually don't care about the Palestinians. Y'all are really quiet now, huh? Made me realize more than anything that y'all are actually just attack dogs for the Democratic Party. That's it. And it's unpaid too, which is the crazy part. You waited until Elisa Slotkin and Hakeem Jeffries and the New York Times editorial board gave you the go-ahead before you allowed yourself to feel any moral upset over the genocide in Gaza. And if they hadn't given you that permission, you would still be going to Starbucks and McDonald's and sticking your fingers in your ears when you hear the names of dead children being read out, because you have no moral principles. You simply exist to justify the actions of the liberal ruling class, no matter how indefensible. And it's one thing to be an attack dog for the Democratic Party. It's another thing to do it for free, but it is a wholly different ballgame to do it at your own active detriment. Because remember, people have gone to jail for incitement to genocide. Those tweets, oh, I can't wait for Trump to turn Gaza into a parking lot because you were upset that Team Blue lost an election that everyone with a working brain could see they were going to lose. That could get you prosecuted, man. And to act this way for the Democratic Party, which does not and has never given a shit about you, is absurd. At least when Republicans act like delusional cultists, their politicians still actually deliver on most of the stuff their base wants. Do you not feel ashamed? Do you not feel anxious that your tap dancing for Kamala Harris might have landed you in an archive dedicated to preserving genocidal sentiment? Because I'd be crying if my actions landed me in that pool of hot water. I'm gonna tell you that. Genuinely, fuck the New York Times. The New York War Crimes is this organization that keeps track of the New York Times' complicity in war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide. And they just came out with a dossier about how many New York Times reporters, editors, senior staffers have direct ties to Israel. And when I'm talking about directly involved, I'm saying within 1 degree or directly served in the IDF, or they live in a stolen home in occupied Palestine. And then they turn around and present themselves as neutral arbiters of truth on the situation because, of course, journalistic ethics just go out of the window when we're talking about Israel. I'm just going to list off a couple of examples and you'll see how insane this stuff is. Meredith Kopit-Levien is the CEO of the New York Times Company, and until recently, she was also working for an organization whose main goal is to instill Zionism in Jewish kids. Joe Kahn, executive editor at the New York Times. His father, for almost 20 years, worked for CAMRA, which is basically Canary Mission, a Zionist harassment group. This guy is responsible for the Screams Without Words piece, which asserted, without evidence, that Hamas used sexual violence as a part of October 7. And then after that story was exposed for not being able to pass a journalistic ethics 101 test, he went on a racially motivated witch hunt against Arab and Muslim Times workers. Or David here, he's the Times political editor. He comes straight from the Jerusalem Bureau, where he had the opportunity to live in a house stolen from a Palestinian doctor, send his kids to Israeli schools, and become what the Times of Israel calls the New York Times' most Israel-friendly Jerusalem reporter. These are the people who have direct control over how the #1 newspaper in the world details Israel's genocide, and the higher up you go, it's just more and more connections to Israel, the IDF, and settlers occupying Palestine. So it's no wonder the New York Times will do shit like writing in passive voice whenever the IOF commits a blatant war crime, or saying Hamas-run health ministry whenever they're talking about death tolls. These people have no sort of journalistic ethics when it comes to Israel. They have every incentive in the world to twist the narrative.
This is my will and my final message. If these words reach you, know that Israel has succeeded in killing me and silencing my voice. First, peace be upon you and Allah's mercy and blessings. Allah knows I gave every effort and all my strength to be a support and a voice for my people, ever since I opened my eyes to life in the alleys and streets of the Jabalia refugee camp. My hope was that Allah would extend my life so I could return with my family and loved ones to our original town of occupied Asqalan, al-Majdal. But Allah's will came first, and His decree is final. I have lived through pain in all its details, tasted suffering and loss many times, yet I never once hesitated to convey the truth as it is, without distortion or falsification, so that Allah may bear witness against those who stayed silent, those who accepted our killing, those who choked our breath, and whose hearts were unmoved by the scattered remains of our children and women, doing nothing to stop the massacre that our people have faced for more than a year and a half. I entrust you with Palestine, the jewel in the crown of the Muslim world, the heartbeat of every free person in this world. I entrust you with its people, with its wronged and innocent children who never had the time to dream or live in safety and peace. Their pure bodies were crushed under thousands of tons of Israeli bombs and missiles, torn apart and scattered across the walls. I urge you not to let chains silence you, nor borders restrain you. Be bridges towards the liberation of the land and its people until the sun of dignity and freedom rises over our stolen homeland. I entrust you to take care of my family. I entrust you with my beloved daughter, Sham, the light in my eyes, whom I never got the chance to watch grow up as I had dreamed. I entrust you with my dear son, Salah, whom I had wished to support and accompany through life until he grew strong enough to carry my burden and continue the mission. I entrust you with my beloved mother, whose blessed prayers brought me to where I am, whose supplications were my fortress, and whose light guided my path. I pray that Allah grants her strength and rewards her on my behalf with the best of rewards. I also entrust you with my lifelong companion, my beloved wife, Salah Bayan, from whom the war separated me for many long days and months. Yet she remained faithful to our bond, steadfast as the trunk of an olive tree that does not bend, patient, trusting in Allah, and carrying the responsibility in my absence with all her strength and faith. I urge you to stand by them, to be their support after Allah Almighty. If I die steadfast upon my principles. I testify before Allah that I am content with His decree, certain of meeting Him, and assured that what is with Allah is better and everlasting. O Allah, accept me among the martyrs, forgive my past and future sins, and make my blood a light that illuminates the path of freedom for my people and my family. Forgive me if I have fallen short, and pray for me with mercy, for I kept my promise and never changed or betrayed it. Do not forget Gaza, and do not forget me in your sincere prayers for forgiveness and acceptance. Anas Jamal Al-Sharif, April 6th, 2025.
Where do lesbians go to college?
There's an abundance flowing through my head. Some of them go to Brooklyn College.
Some of them go. On the card, Smith, Bryn Mawr, Sarah Lawrence. Yeah. We got you, girls. Hi, I'm Ananiah. This is Gaydar. What is the name of Addison Rae's newest single?
Tell me.
I don't know. Fame is a gun. Can I talk to you in my office for a second?
Yes, tell me.
I'm not really an Addison Rae fan, but I think what's happening is the cultural zeitgeist is moving in that direction.
I need to brush up.
Right.
Yes.
Have you heard of Diet Pepsi? Name a gay person you wish you could resurrect, but you can't say Jesus since he already had his shot.
Hibiscus of the Angels of Light, an incredible drag performance group that made all the looks that we see today.
That's a pretty good answer. I was thinking of like Ellen DeGeneres. Is she dead yet? Can I say that? If you had to describe your gender using 3 inanimate objects, what would they be?
A slab of tourmaline,
The
rock,
gemstone.
the gemstone,
Yep.
bubbles blown through the air on a breezy park day.
You better get your poetry in. For young queer people living under increasing legal and political oppression, what lessons can we draw from queer elders, and where do we go from there?
These harsh conditions have happened before, and people have imagined a world beyond them. Marsha P. Johnson, after Stonewall, loved how going on HRT gave her a handful. She says, I have a handful. It's not a big handful, but it's a handful. You can hear the gender euphoria in her voice, and I think we need to look to the people who preceded us and know the euphoric moments that they had.
What should gay people be reading this summer?
Marsha, The Joy and Defiance of Marsha B. Johnson. It's out now wherever you get your books.
If I had to guess if you were gay, straight, or homophobe, my fellow she, they, this-er, I'm gonna lock in like allosexual. I'm learning new words.
Yes, you're so close. Allosexual.
What's T?
Are you also allosexual?
No, I'm homophobic. Yep.
I understand now why you were asking me for black lesbian names and locations.
Because I couldn't name them.
The note that Tyler, the creator, dropped after his new album really highlights something in the whole fear of being perceived conversation, and it's the fact that we live in a surveillance state, not just politically, but socially, creatively, and emotionally. And there's actually a sociological lens for this, and it's called the panopticon. It's this idea that people regulate their own behavior not because they are being watched, but because they might be being watched. That's what's happening now, where we've internalized the possibility of being perceived. So we move through the world like there's always a camera running, because there usually is. And it's funny because most people are actually complicit in this system. Like, we film strangers on trains, we upload clips of people crying, arguing, breaking down. People narrate each other's lives in real time. Surveillance isn't just a force applied to us, it's one that we enact on each other. Even creativity has been folded into this idea. To be a content creator now means optimizing your life for visibility. Post more, stream longer, be everywhere. Even just existing online demands a constant performance. You don't even need a niche anymore. Sometimes your personality can be the product. And it's not even that we've just adapted to surveillance. Sometimes we even style ourselves around it. Like the paparazzi style campaigns, the tabloid inspired edits, the trends to make it look like you got caught off guard. Being watched is a style. I remember this Cameron Diaz interview. She said the moment everything changed for her was when phones started having cameras. She knew then that privacy was over. What shifted is that now everyone's a potential target, not just celebrities. There used to be like an implicit contract, the visibility in exchange for access. Fame meant that you gave up some privacy, but you got protection, perks, money. Now, regular people are being exposed in the same way, but without any benefits. And that's why people are starting to say things like being unreachable or touching grass is the new luxury. Privacy, stillness, and not being online are being reframed as aspirational. It's no longer about disappearing to escape, but it's about being able to opt out. And that's why I think a lot of people resonate with what his friend said, because the fear isn't just of being perceived, it's of being captured.
How are some of y'all going around living life not caring what people think about you?
I remember that I don't actually know what you're thinking about me. I just know what I think you might be thinking about me, which means I'm creating a mean and judgmental version of you in my head and then using it to think mean things about myself. And since I made you mean in my head, then really I'm the one being judgmental of you, not the other way around. Now I just assume people are cool and that they're probably thinking nice things, and when they prove me wrong and start acting mean for no apparent reason, I remind myself that there's a version of me in their head that they are thinking mean things about that is in fact not me at all. Actually, it's a part of them, so really they're being mean to themselves. It doesn't become me until I allow their perception and their treatment of me to start shaping the way I perceive and treat myself. You know, the Buddhists have a story about the Buddha teaching in front of a large crowd of people when a man shows up to heckle him by shouting loud and mean and obscene things, but the Buddha ignores him and just keeps teaching. The man, frustrated, frustrated, doubles down and gets even more loud, even more mean, even more obscene. But the Buddha ignores him and just keeps teaching. Eventually, the man gets so frustrated he breaks down and goes, "Hey, don't you even hear me? Why aren't you upset? I'm being so mean. I'm being such an ass." Finally, the Buddha replies to the man and says, "If you give someone a lavish gift, but they refuse to accept it, who does that gift belong to?" The man says, "Well, obviously, it still belongs to me." The Buddha replies, "The same is true with your anger and with your insults. If I refuse to accept them, then they belong to you, not to me."
You can't hardly breathe. It's just like your whole world is collapsing down on you. And it's frightening.
Easter Knox lives just over a mile from XAI.
I really wasn't getting the fresh air. I was getting that pollution that was mixed in with everything.
You know how you light your stove and that gas seeps with the little ticking noise? That's what it smelled like.
Alexis Humphreys grew up here, one street away from Easter.
When I smelled it the first time, I was asleep. And it woke me up because I thought gas was seeping in the house, but come to find out, we come outside and all the neighbors was outside trying to figure out what's going on.
The area around XAI leads the state in emergency department visits for asthma. Memphis has one of the highest rates of toxic air releases of any American city, and many of its most polluting facilities are in this neighborhood.
He was an ordinary dad, full of joy, full of jokes.
Last year, Alexis lost her grandfather, who struggled with a respiratory illness called chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or COPD.
COPD is a breathing condition, but you don't get it unless you smoke cigarettes. And my granddad didn't smoke cigarettes, but every 3 weeks or so, my granddad was going to the hospital. He would have to get breathing treatments. I have asthma, bronchitis. My mom have just bronchitis, and now my granny has it.
Easter and her husband have also developed COPD. What does it feel like?
Feel like you're fixing to die.
Elon, what he did with Memphis is objectively somewhat dirty, but he's also doing it in an area where there's like a bigger natural gas plant right next door and like a wastewater treatment and a garbage dump nearby, right? And he's obviously made the world a lot more clean than that one data center.
In just 1 year, XAI has blown past existing polluters.
They're emitting somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 tons of NOx. I'm an air pollution guy, so I deal in those numbers all the time, and that's larger than anything else in Memphis.
Gas turbines like these release 3 main types of deadly pollution: nitrogen oxides, formaldehyde, and fine particulate matter. Nitrogen oxides combine with other pollutants to form ground-level ozone, which causes and worsens asthma and COPD. Formaldehyde causes cancer, and particulate matter, airborne soot, can pass through your lungs and into your bloodstream, causing heart disease.
Most companies that I've dealt with go to great lengths and spend a lot of money to make sure that the day they turn on their operations, they're also turning on their pollution control equipment. That's a given. For a company to do this, it's treating the people who live there as if they don't count.
Israel is killing our people. Israel is killing people in Gaza every day until this minute. Israel is still destroying our cities, still destroying Gaza. This sentence, Israel is destroying, killing. Our content, our conversations, our post needs to start with this, because they caused the hunger, they caused the starvation, so people will stop talking about what's going on, about what's really happening, and because people are hungry, that's what they want to get that attention to there, where people are still being killed. Israel is still killing our people. Israel is still destroying our city. And yes, starvation is caused by Israel. The prices are high, crazy, because of Israel. Because that's what they want, and that's how they got people to get to this point. It's Israel. And what are we doing about it? Israel is still killing our people in Gaza. People are still homeless. People are still living in tents on the street. People are not in their homes because of Israel, because of the genocide that is happening. And because every video I post about what's happening, about a personal story, about my relatives, my family, my neighbors, the max reach would be 300. So I'm going to show my most recent addition to my shop is the red kufia scrunchie, and I'm going to link it because TikTok likes to push videos with links.
If Judas was the first gay man, who was the second?
Maybe Achilles.
What's gay about Achilles?
His boyfriend.
They were doing that back then?
Oh yeah, olive oil usage was up. Hi, I'm Ananiah, this is Gaydar, and we have the baddest in the game on the show today. Me. Give it up for Amelia, the CEO and creator of Gaydar, who's gonna ask me some ass questions.
What year did Iowa legalize same-sex marriage?
Oh, I don't.
Oh.
I'm gonna say 2015.
And you wanna know what? It was 2009. They were the third state to
Are
do
you
it.
serious?
Yeah. Where were you?
I was 9 years old.
And do you remember 9/11?
I actually don't.
Rank the following TV hosts in order of queerness.
Okay.
Tyra Banks, Oprah Winfrey, or Wendy Williams.
Wendy is the gayest. I think then we have to go Tyra, and then I'm gonna say Oprah. Even though Oprah probably, was low key.
Oprah
Yeah.
and Gail,
And I do know.
And we know. Have you ever referred to someone as clocky behind their back?
Absolutely.
Why are you mean to other trans people?
They call me a double agent because actually I was a straight man until 9/11.
Right, until the Bush administration.
Until the Bush.
How many characters from the L word can you name? If even one.
You know I can't.
Oh, is that because you hate lesbians?
I don't hate lesbians. I do just think they got it wrong with the L word.
What do you have to say to the entire lesbian community watching this right now?
I'm very sorry that my lesbian director wants you to become a monolith.
Out of the last 99 episodes of Gaydar, which guest was the most homophobic?
Rahul, what are some ways a gay person might celebrate their birthday?
Being even more annoying than usual.
Tommy.
I think we're gonna be best friends.
I don't think so at all, Tommy. Yeah, those guys gotta go.
We are ready to now find out if you are gay, straight, or a homophobe. I do think that you transcend a lot of categories.
Sure.
Actor, singer, drag queen, host, all the genders that you could be. I think you've kind of Pokemon caught them all.
No, I've done my time.
How would you identify?
I don't know the difference between bisexuality and pansexuality. So I'm one of those.
And we'll never know.
What-
Happy Gaydar 100th episode and 1 year.
There will be more coming. And then more coming.
I may ruffle some feathers with this one, but what if I told you the problem with Howard was never really the fact that they decided to raise tuition? At the end of the day, any private institution operating under capitalism is going to do the same as it becomes increasingly sought after and scarce. Now stay with me, because the real problem lies in the fact that Howard was quick to start moving like an elite institution when it came to raising tuition, but slow to start moving like an elite institution when it came to investing in their own infrastructure. Now don't, because if we really want to talk about it, we can talk about it, because people love to say how black capitalism operates the same as white capitalism, and this is true for the most part, but I have noticed one interesting distinction, which is that I've noticed that black capitalism operates prematurely, and I mean in every essence of the word, pre-meaning before it becomes mature. Y'all wanted a take, I'm giving y'all a take. I grew up in a Howard household. Both my parents and my brother went, but y'all may know I flipped the script and I go to Stanford. Although I'm positive that Howard would have gave me an equally, if not even more enriching educational experience, I can say this. Stanford and Ivy League institutions, they've been doing this capitalism thing for a long time. They've been funneling money into their institution while our ancestors were still being used as money for their institutions. Does that put in perspective what we're talking about? Stay with me. People don't know this to the degree that they should, but these white elite institutions, they operate on need-based aid. What does that mean? If you get into the school, they'll give you as much money as you need to attend. So when you want to raise tuition, but you can't provide that for even half of your students, it looks a little crazy. When you try to raise tuition, but half of your students are going unhoused, it looks a little crazy. And that's because when you succeed in black capitalism to the point where you almost look like a white capitalist, you start operating that way vacuously. And what do I mean by that? You do so forgetting the generations of exploitation that enabled white institutions to extract to the degree that they do. So then you try to jump the gun and move how they're moving. Whole time, the only reason they can move how they're moving is because their foundation was built on slave labor, something that Howard was never given the privilege to leverage.
This is Imani After Dark. I just saw a video where a disabled guy was in a wheelchair, very handsome man, and his video was about him flipping outfits. He was in regular everyday clothes and then a suit, and he's in a wheelchair, so he's visibly disabled, and he's very handsome, like I said. But it just reminded me of something because of the comment section. This is not about him or his video. It's about the comment section, okay? The comment section was all women hitting on him. Okay, and it reminded me of a point I've been trying to verbalize for like the past year, but either have not like remembered to do it or like it slips my mind every so often. And that is whenever you all get in your eugenics bag, like you get like super eugenics-y and like very Nazi-esque, it's almost always because the child had a disabled mother, not because the child had a disabled father. Because the amount of times I've seen disabled men celebrated for openly like thirst trapping and expressing their sexuality, and disabled women be punished for the exact same things, I'd have a lot of money. Because when something goes wrong in pregnancy, society blames the mother, right? When the responsibility of passing bad genes down happens, it's because of the mother. And so I'm gonna need you all to draw the lines, okay, between those dots and realize that the same way that people talk about you as women, you're talking about disabled people. Those two conversations run parallel regarding desirability, disability, and the responsibility of womanhood, okay? And so when anti-abortion laws, like the lack of abortion across the United States, turns into them criminally prosecuting women who produce a disabled child that then dies because they've diminished healthcare so much, know that at least that whole cycle started in part because there were many disabled people that were so fucking fed up with the way non-disabled people talked about abortion that they became easy pickings for the alt-right to utilize them on those speaking tours around being pro-life.
Can you name 3 things considered gay male culture?
It's embarrassing because the answers that are coming to me are like 90s, like, I'm like,
Sure.
being a hairstylist.
Yes.
Seriously being really sexually promiscuous. Sorry, y'all, I did not nail this one. That's on me.
I love that you're using this chance on my platform to bash gay men. Yeah. Love that. Hi, I'm Ananiah. This is Gaydar. What is a drag king?
Somebody who does drag in character as like a masculine presenting person. I'm trying to be really careful.
Are you nervous about being politically correct?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Which of these brunette icons identifies as queer? Jenna Ortega, Dakota Johnson, or Aubrey Plaza?
Jenna Ortega.
Incorrect. It's Aubrey Plaza.
I should have known it was Aubrey Plaza. Jenna Ortega is like Gen Z, so
No,
if you're Gen Z, you are queer. Sorry.
Name a gay rights activist.
Marsha P. Johnson.
Name another.
Harvey Milk.
Okay, name one more.
Sylvia Rivera.
Period. Okay,
Yeah.
one more. I'm trying to get you out of the Wikipedia.
That guy Chase Strangio. He's arguing before the Supreme Court.
Wow.
That was really scary.
I'm kind of impressed by you right now. Republicans just passed a new bill in the House. Which of the following does the bill do? Kick 10 million people off of Medicaid, give tax breaks to billionaires, take SNAP benefits away from 18 million children.
Oh yeah, they would do all that stuff. I'm gonna say Medicaid.
All of the above. Tax breaks for billionaires paid for by our food and health care benefits. Anyone surprised by that?
It's completely despicable. You people should be ashamed of yourselves. I bet you they're watching.
Republicans are watching Gaydar.
They're like guilty pleasure.
I mean, especially because they're on Grindr. Anyway, what would gay people have at a barbecue?
Alcohol, chicken thighs.
Why chicken thighs?
Right, so what happened is I recently went to a barbecue with a bunch of gay people, so I'm drawing from experience.
And you were just there
and I was
as
just
an
there
ally.
as an ally to support, just to make sure everyone was safe.
Do you know how much more the average barbecue costs today than it did a few years ago?
40%.
20 to 30%. Thanks to Republican tariffs. If I had to guess if you were gay, straight, or homophobe, I think you're gay.
Yes, you got me.
Do you have a piercing on both ears?
Yes.
What's the gay ear, right?
And I have that one and the left one in honor of my straight friends and compatriots.
And being versatile.
And being versatile.
Thank you.
People are kind of like upset right now because a lot of women who were coming out as queer and standing for the community, they're kind of reverting back. And they're kind of saying, you know what, and they're talking a lot about Christianity. So everybody's calling this kind of like some more sort of religious renaissance. Like all of the queer people are reverting back out of fear, out of boredom, we don't know. So I thought when I saw you for the first time, I was like, oh my God. Not only was I like, okay, obviously queer, and then I saw older, elder, you know? And then I was like, Black. To me, that was inspiring because you see a lot of like queers that are represented, I guess, as older, they're white. And it's like, that's not my story. My story is with another Black woman. So I was really excited to see you, and I kind of felt a little scared when I came up to you because I was like, look, I'm not weird. I just want to say thank you for existing, you know?
I didn't feel that at all. It was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
When you came over to me, I haven't forgotten the moment.
Yeah.
And then after that, a whole group of other young black folks came over. So it really felt wonderful.
Yes,
felt
yes.
wonderful. I mean, that was special.
Yeah.
To me. So I'm
no,
thankful.
you're special to us, because I'm telling you, we always talk about how like we don't have representation. And when I saw you, I was like, representation right there, like someone who's just living in their truth. And you were just over there dancing and vibing. I was like, yes, the freedom. I like how when we were talking about queer, you didn't say, oh, I'm a lesbian, or I'm this, or I'm that. You're just like the freedom, because that's what I see it as. It's freedom. I'm free.
Yeah. I don't choose any particular names. I don't have a problem with somebody saying you're a dyke, or you're queer, or you're a leslie, or whatever, whatever they feel. You know, if that's
to make
what
them
you
comfortable.
feel, you're good.
Yeah.
As long as it's respectful and it's not, you know, you coming sideways at me.
Yeah.
Then
true.
I'm gonna unleash, you know, some of that real queerness on your ass. But
no, for
other
sure.
than that, it's all good. You know, it means nothing.
Yeah.
To me, that means nothing. As long as the respect is there.
Yeah.
And you know, people say things, and a lot of times people don't even realize.
Yeah.
That they're saying something that may be, you know, and oftentimes they just don't. People just say shit. You know how that goes.
Yeah, sure. And feel free to cuss. I want the raw dog truth here.
Okay,
Yeah.
come on.
So we're gonna start off with kind of like, I know we briefly talked about it, but going into like when you first realized that you had this sense of freedom, where you were like that feeling of like, oh, this is me. What was that like?
Wow, that's a good question. You know what? It was a while, because even though I realized and recognized my own, what you call queerness, my reality of who I really am.
Yes.
As being a woman who was attracted to women, who loved women.
Yeah.
And who felt love for women.
Yes.
I was really young, but I didn't somehow, how can I put this? Somehow, because of my environment, I knew I couldn't, I was fearful of, you know, it was always on the down low.
Yeah.
Always on the down low. You know, even acting like, you know, I was attracted
to me.
Yeah.
So sorry.
But you know, it worked. I that's a whole nother story. I'll give you the whole lowdown on that, because I was pushed in that direction for quite a while.
Yeah.
I actually even thought that something was wrong with me.
Ooh, that is heavy.
Because it was, there was no air coming in to my breathing space that said you can, it's okay.
Yes.
Everything that I was getting was coming from people who felt that anything having to be so-called queer, dyke, gay, whatever, was sick and crazy and wrong, and something was wrong with you.
Yeah.
And I got that from a very young age. I drank some of that in, and there's no question that it affected my life, and how I became and how I lived for years.
Yeah.
My daughter is older than your mother, isn't she?
Yes. My mother's 48. Yes.
Yes. And she visited me. She's in New York.
Yeah.
Okay. She came and visited me a few weeks ago.
Yes.
She just called me up and said, "Mom, I'm coming. I want to come see you. I want to come see you."
Yes.
Right? Which is something she doesn't always do.
Yeah.
Okay. I was kind of surprised.
Yeah.
Right? So I said, "Okay, I'm here, you know, I am, you know." So she came, and when she came, almost immediately we started butting heads, because she has this. She's with this guy, and he's Muslim, and whoop, 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 whoop.
Okay.
And basically, she left earlier than she was supposed to leave, because I didn't tell her to leave. She left earlier because she didn't want to. I wanted to. She was telling me she didn't want to watch any gay movies. She didn't want to watch. I was looking at, as a matter of fact, I was looking at Bear Rustin. And we were doing something, and she was doing something in the kitchen. And so I started watching that, and she said, "I don't want to watch no gay man." So I was like, I already know where she's coming from.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to go there, because then I start going off.
Yeah.
So then I said, okay, so let's watch, I was looking for something else. I said, well, remember I told you about Paulie Murray?
Yeah.
The lawyer? I said, let's watch her. Isn't she a gay woman? I said, yeah, she is. She is. Okay. I don't want to watch that. So what do you want to watch? Cartoons? That's what I said. You want to watch cartoons? I mean, I thought you told me that she had told me, but she was reading Bell Hooks.
Yeah.
And I said, well, you know, Bell Hooks is
yeah, I was like,
all the way, yeah.
She's a little gay, a lot
gay.
gay.
A lot gay, and she was.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you know, you ain't gonna be going nowhere with me. Where you gonna go with me?
Yeah.
Where are you going with me? Because I'm not gonna go a place. Let me not even go there. I just want to give you a little taste of that.
Like, it's good that, from what I'm noticing, that you have empathy for her, because she's probably, like, angry for who knows what. We don't know. But
angry for not being who she really is, or angry for who knows? Yeah. It's so. I thought that thought too.
Yeah, because when you are fully at your fullest expression, and you're around people, you carry a certain light. And if people don't have that certain light within themselves, they'll either try to take from you and drain you, or they'll hate your light because they can't see their own.
You're too young to be so wise.
I've been through a lot.
In 26 years, just imagine.
Yeah.
Just imagine. I mean, like, wow, you're just a baby.
I'm not a baby. I'm actually the oldest daughter. That adds to my lore. That's why she gave us the gay gene.
Well, hey, look. That's, you know what? I feel like this. And I felt this before I read this about Sigmund Freud.
Yeah.
Was it Sigmund Freud who said this? I think it was Sigmund Freud who said that. It might have not have been him, because they tell me something about Sigmund Freud, because he was a fraud.
Yeah.
But he took it from somebody else, and this stuff goes way back. Our ancestors, black women, were marrying one another thousands and thousands of years ago. They fought to not have to be with men. They actually fought wars and died to not have to be with men. They married women.
Yeah.
Their children was shared between the women.
Yes.
They were forced.
Yes.
They were forced. I mean, it was brutal force that changed all this. It's thousands of years of programming and oppression and force and domination that has brought us to where we are now.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes I look at some women and I'm like, and the way they behave around the men that they're around, it makes my skin crawl. It makes my skin crawl. I'm like, you make them, they don't make you.
Yes.
They wouldn't exist. You make them, they don't make you. It's crazy.
Hold on. Because I think for me, it's very much a thing of, like, you mentioned something earlier about, like, I'm a woman who loves women. Like, you didn't really imply a sexual aspect, you just said I love women. And that's the position I come from. Like, I tell people my queer identity is not rooted in I hate men. No. Like, yes, men.
Yeah, you got good reason. And you got good reason.
And I got good goddamn reason. Okay. But what I'm trying to say is that it's for women. I was reading a book when God was a woman. And
you read that? Rolling Stone.
I was reading it and then I stopped reading it. And that's a part of the lore. I just got to tell you. But I was reading it and I got to the part where they were talking about how women were doing communal living. And that they were using men is a hard word, but they would have, okay, we're ready to have our children. Like, me and my wife or me and my other partner are ready to have our children. So we're going to pick you as our sperm donor. Kind of what we do today. But they didn't have a professional aspect to it, but it was very like, we're going to intuitively pick a man that we feel can bring us, help us change the world.
And the men went along with it. This was before the patriarchy broke in.
Because why? Because men don't mind being passed around by women. I'm fully convinced of that. If they like men and they want to share a man will be down, because men are not monogamous. They like being with multiple women at once because that's how they think. I wish women, especially lesbians, would understand, or not even lesbians, just women would understand that men live for themselves. They see us as a resource. They don't see us as a lover. They don't see us as a lover. When you're with other women, you see that woman as a lover, a friend, a partner.
Yes.
Men don't see us like that. They see us as object. And when women really get that down, we can stop fighting for his attention and realize that we are the power. Yes. We are the money.
We're the prize. We're the prize.
But they don't want to do that. They want to fight for dingling.
I tell people, But anyway, okay, we went off course. Go ahead.
No, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. I really wanted to.
But you must read the rest of those books.
I have to. Absolutely have to.
The Natural. There's another one that I recently got. I've got some backed up that I haven't even been able to get to read to yet. Mm-hmm. There's one about the women's natural leadership. Women, we're natural leaders. We are the leaders.
When I tell you that I just made a video talking to, like, I have a TikTok, so I talk to people on there, and I was like, hey, like,
you better send it to me so I can know, because I'm not too savvy with it, but I'm getting better with it. I'm on Facebook all the time. I'll put you on my
Facebook. That's for
Patricia Ma'at. Yeah. Under the Ma'atian.
Yeah.
That's when I'm on there, and I so much stuff. I get people come on and they be like, why do you be saying that? So because that's the way I feel about it.
Yeah.
That's what's up. This is the message that I want to bring.
Yeah.
You know, you have a message that you want to bring.
And I got my message.
Please.
So on my message, I was telling women, I was like, hey, I lost it. No, I lost it. I was saying, hey, I was saying, hey, lesbians, do you understand that there is no man in our relationship? Because, we have not more women who are a little more comfortable, a little more, what they'll call it dyke, and then you have the lesbians that are a little more feminine. And sometimes these lesbians get together, and then a guy, I had this experience where guys will come up like, oh, are you the boy in the relationship? It's like, no, I'm a woman, and this is another woman, and we're loving on each other. And I think...
I love the way you put that.
But sometimes lesbians take that on, and they're like, yeah, no, I'm the more, because I'm the stud, I'm the dyke, I'm the more raw. And it's like, no, hear me out. What you're actually dealing with is some sort of weird perspective that a man is the only one that can have leadership skills. So therefore, because he has leadership skills, you have to take on that energy. It's like, no, you could just be a woman with leadership skills, and then sometimes in your relationship, your partner is going to have a certain skill set where it makes her the leader at that moment and help you guys' relationship rise and elevate.
Absolutely.
But they want to do too much.
But that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I always had a little tiff with this.
Yeah.
When I ran into people, lesbians, like whatever you want to call it, that I hung out with, and we group up, go this, do that, and the other. There would always, it seems as though there was always one or two lesbian, dyke women, whatever you want to call it, who came with this hardcore, I want to kick everybody's ass type thing. And from the time I first experienced it, I was wondering within myself, what the fuck is that about? I'm not. If I wanted a man, why would I go and choose you? I can get a man that acts like he's God.
Yeah. Oh my.
Why do I want somebody who's like, let me look at my girl like that, like fuck all that. Do you run into those?
They everywhere. They're loose on the streets, just running and just acting like. I'm like, ma'am,
they've been programmed.
Yeah, it's a program. I feel like because when you talk to these women, they're the most softest, feminine women ever. It'd be the ones that are all dykish and all like butch or whatever you want to call it. That'd be the most tender. Like, I'll be like, yes, you're such a girl, you're such a woman, and that's okay. I get it. I also wear the clothes. I have just a little more rougher edge, but at the end of the day, I don't deny myself my femininity. No. I'll cross my legs. I'll eat properly. I'll do whatever I gotta do to let you know that I'm okay with being a woman. I just happen to love women, and these are my clothes.
And this is who you are. Every single bit of you. We know homosexuality was before there was heterosexuality. We know that over, 15,000 animals are homosexual. And they don't have any problems. Nobody's telling them what to do. And they've been this way forever. Some of your biggest are like lions. They're some of the biggest homosexuals there are.
Yeah.
Kangaroos.
I tried to explain to somebody with the lion, because I couldn't officially say that I knew that they were queer, but it's like, think about it. All the male lion does is sit around and make sure that no other male lions come up amongst his flock.
His pride.
There's probably a flock. My bad.
No, that's okay. It is a flock. It's a flock too.
Yeah. So it would always be the lionesses that were hunting and congregating and creating that energy. And it's like
everything.
I'm like, it seems like they over here having a little party, and the kids is being raised by the women, and the men are just literally laying like lions sleep so many hours of the day, male lions.
Yes.
The female lions are out there hunting, strategizing, getting everything done, and sometimes they're even the ones attacking other predators, keeping them out when the lions are sitting there sleeping.
Most of the time.
So I'm sitting here like, so what's really going on? It's like they have a little lesbian party.
Right. And then they're killing off the babies that come from another male. They killed them. The females try to stop them. And sometimes they're successful at it, but they're so much bigger. But they try to stop them, but you're right. He lays around on his ass all day. And sometimes he'll get in the fight if needs to be. And then they'll bring him the food. And you always hear men say, "Well, why do when the lionesses bring the food, they always give it to the male first?" I said, the only thing that I can actually reason that makes sense to me, that they know that the male is not wired right, and they know that if he's hungry, he'll eat the babies, or whatever.
That's good. It's like he's taking it as, they serve you. They're looking at it as like, if we don't feed this dumb ass, he's gonna go and do something dumb.
Yes, and he's a sperm donor, so we're gonna hold on to him.
Yeah, we like him. He has the
genes we want.
The genes we want. Okay,
that's it. And that's all it is to it.
Yeah.
Mr. Misogyny. You like to play with me, yes you do. Mr. Misogyny, yeah. Then you wanna lay with me and stay with me now. But Mr. Misogyny, will you dismay me, betray me, maybe even slay me?
Everybody want to buy back the block to build community wealth, but nobody's building grocery stores or clinics or daycares or schools. All right, you flipped the house, cool, but where can Miss Pam go to get her blood pressure checked? Why do they gotta catch 3 buses to get to the grocery store? If your play is just Airbnbs and rent hikes, that's not community wealth. That's just gentrification cosplaying as black excellence. Who said that? I mean, I'll be honest, the phrase came from a good place. Buy Back the Block started as a call to reclaim what was taken from us through redlining, disinvestment, eminent domain, just generational theft. And before y'all try to come and tell me that it don't exist, I would like to remind y'all that I was born and raised in Baltimore, which was the first city in America to implement legislation that directly prevented black people from being able to purchase homes in white neighborhoods, which is one of the reasons I'm so passionate about it. I don't know how, but somewhere between the think pieces and the closing costs, Buying Back the Block has turned more into a hashtag or an Instagram caption than a movement. For all intents and purposes, it turned into a catchphrase. Now it's all about owning property, flipping houses, and flexing on your timeline. It's not about building anything sustainable. You can't say you're buying back the block when all you're doing is raising the rent on your own people. You bought a house, staged it, flipped it, and now thanks to some aesthetic photos, you're gonna raise the rent $2,000 so that families who've been there for 30 years can't even afford to stay now? How is that freedom? Like, be fucking for real. And of course, you're only focused on the individual profit and not on the consequences this action will have on the entire community. Aunties getting priced out, kids gotta move in the middle of the school year because the lease isn't getting renewed because they wanna raise the rent and mom can't afford it. Neighborhoods very literally change overnight, and not because they got better, but because the people got pushed out. It's black investors, flippers, landlords, replicating the same extractive system. But it's okay because they black. When we say buying back the block, it should mean buying back function, not just a facade, actual community wealth. This looks like affordable rental units for the families that already live here. Grocery stores people can actually get to. A daycare that doesn't cost someone's entire paycheck. Creating after-school programs to keep kids off the streets, keep them busy, keep them entertained, help them with homework, something. Buying back the block looks like reinvesting in the infrastructure of the community, not just rooftops and hardwood floors. Because property doesn't equal power if your neighbors are living paycheck to paycheck, with nowhere to go when they're sick or hungry or struggling. So the next time I hear somebody say, oh, I want to buy back the block, I'm going to ask you, do you really want to build community, or are you just trying to build equity? It's fine if your answer is the second one, but let's just stop pretending.
It was difficult, growing up sometimes, and I didn't know how much my mom had to sacrifice to make me a happy kid. And it's really always been on my heart to be able to help other people who might have been going through the same things as me and my family. As soon as I started making enough money to help other people, that's what I wanted to do.
Joseph Pete III and Holly Thomas gave their daughter Megan something priceless. They taught her the value of her voice and to use it for something greater.
Megan's very into helping out her community, giving back to people that don't have as much as she has.
The Pete and Thomas Foundation is rooted in Houston, driven by purpose, and powered by love.
The mission of the Pete and Thomas Foundation is to support women, children, the elderly, and underserved communities.
The Pete and Thomas Foundation has given more than $175,000 in educational support.
I was in school to study to be a pharmacist. Receiving the scholarship was very helpful. Just incredibly grateful for the Pete and Thomas Foundation.
I always see that a lot of people don't further their education, they don't finish because they can't afford it. One of my main goals was just to keep giving back to my community.
In 2024, the Pete and Thomas Foundation rebuilt the literacy room and podcast studio at the Yet Center in Houston.
The renovations in these 2 rooms are going to be so impactful.
The literacy room is going to impact kids in a major way, get them excited to read about literacy and whole STEM and all those things.
I feel like in the black community, we really don't talk about mental health enough.
When it comes to mental health, I appreciate the fact that Megan Thee Stallion stepped up as an African-American woman and said, I'm going to take care of the girls in my community.
She's very, very interested in supporting women and girls, particularly around mental health and healing. That's her passion. That's her alignment.
I have gone through my own mental health struggles. If I could help people and point people in the direction of going to get help and going to be better, that's what I really wanted to do.
We are so excited to partner with Pete and Thomas to have our 4th annual community baby shower.
Pete and Thomas Foundation, they were able to fulfill 14 people's wish list for Christmas.
Father's Day, for several fathers, Pete and Thomas acknowledged not only their contribution to their families, but to their community.
The Hotties Helping Grant from the Pete and Thomas Foundation is helping the Black Period Project expand our HBCU menstrual closet campaign.
Today we are taking some ladies chosen by my own Pete and Thomas Foundation to have a hot girl experience.
Thanks, Pete and Thomas Foundation!
I come from an intergenerational household with my grandmother and my great-grandmother. So it's really always been on my heart to be able to help other elderly people.
It really means a lot for us to partner with Megan's Foundation to be able to provide to the seniors.
Most seniors are isolated. They just need a little help with the necessities to stay in their homes.
Probably one of my favorite things that we did, we gave out a lot of generators. After Hurricane Beryl, senior citizens were without power for over a week. And I knew I wanted to help and provide generators for them so they could be safe in their homes.
Since 2022, we have partnered with over 150 organizations and served more than 30,000 people.
Megan is like all about girl empowerment. She's all about women being leaders.
I'm not doing it because I want anything in return. I'm doing it because I like to see people smile. I see the Pete and Thomas Foundation just continuing to grow the people that we help. I want to help everybody.
Join us as we write the next chapter with heart, with purpose, with love.
It had to be Greta because white bodies cause moral dilemmas to regimes built on white supremacy. It had to be Greta because white resistance makes headlines, whilst black and brown bodies are disposable. It had to be Greta because white privilege has a responsibility to dismantle empire. It had to be Greta because her life is bound by the prestige of the European project. And it had to be Greta because after over 75 years of displacement and catastrophe, and over 600 days of the latest genocide against the Palestinian people, none of our governments or leaders would have blinked twice if any of us had been kidnapped by such a criminal enterprise. But let's be very clear, even with all that privilege, she chose to stand on business. She made a decision to risk her life, knowing the fate of those who have come before her, to stand in solidarity with Palestine and humanity. And knowing her white privilege cannot be revoked, she used it to shame the silence of thousands of other voices that could have sat in a similar boat, to send a message to those who profit from brutality. To volunteer yourself to come face to face with the perpetrators of genocide, starvation, and apartheid is not a small thing. But Greta did, at 22. Now, sailing to the front line isn't for everyone for various reasons. But where you are now, with the privilege that you hold to any degree, are you maximizing your privilege? Because Greta did. Now, we must also honor those from across the global south, like the Maghreb resilience from Tunisia, Morocco, and Libya, that have been doing the exact same thing, that have done the exact same thing, and have died defying the blood-soaked global order that systemically dehumanizes Palestinians. Now Greta is home. All eyes must stay on the remaining Madeleine activists. All feet must stand in solidarity with Palestine, and all hearts must choose humanity.
They call me Semi, and I have a gift. For a long time, I wished I didn't have it, because this gift scares people. I stayed silent for a long time. I learned to be quiet, to stay small. But this third eye, it never stopped seeing. So I started painting again. Not to be seen, to understand. And slowly, everything began to speak again. The garden, the light, the shapes. I thought I was alone. But all around me, the world was answering. I just had to listen.
When it's hot.
I don't see the world like others do. I let what I feel move through my hands. Sometimes what I see overwhelms me. Fragments of a world that doesn't exist yet. Or maybe it exists elsewhere.
It's
That day, I knew I wasn't alone anymore. I wasn't crazy. Just awake.
Name a gay billionaire.
The Apple one. Like the old guy.
Oh, is it a new guy?
Steve
Jobs is
Steve
dead?
Jobs is not alive.
Hi, I'm Ananiah. This is Gaydar. Name a trans model that isn't Alex Kasani.
Me.
I live! Ow! In 10 seconds, how many drag queens can you name?
Carrie Colby, Phoenix, RuPaul, Lady Bunny, Bianca Del Rio, Sasha Colby. Shut Monet Exchange Peppermint.
You ate that. I just want to say you didn't say me. What are the benefits of transitioning as a minor?
You don't go through male puberty.
Boom, shakalaka.
I went through only part of it.
Good for you. Me and my brown bone are gonna be just fine. Studies show that these interventions can reduce anxiety, depression, and ideation while improving self-esteem and social relationships.
That's very true, and I can vouch for that.
Period.
Support
Thank you.
trans minors.
Yay! Marry, kill, woke mind virus, blue-haired liberals, or snowflakes.
Marry the woke mind virus because that's me, so I'm marrying myself. Someone's gonna make an AGP joke about that.
I think I'm gonna have to go ahead and blue-haired liberals. I guess kill the snow. That's just global warming. Can you teach us queer slang in French?
My French is not that good.
Well, let's see.
I can't teach you in Japanese. Okay.
Okay.
I took the microphone from you. I hope you're not Wendy Williams. Okay.
We'll talk about it.
There is uke and semet. What?
Everybody raise
There's dirt on
your Fujoshi freak flag. Okay, if you didn't know what that meant, uke is a bottom, seme is a top. How many trans athletes are there in the country?
I don't play sports, so 0. I don't know any cis athletes. Why do you think I would know the trans ones?
Why do you think powerful people are attacking trans rights, and what do you have to say to them?
They're bored. They're jealous.
Right.
Of the dolls.
Period.
Because we're and they're not, and they'll never be.
I live. I feel like they also just have to pick something to hate, and unfortunately, we are at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to rights. If I had to guess if you were gay, straight, or homophobe, I think we started in a heterosexual sphere, and I think we're hanging out with the dolls now. What, am I close?
I was a femboy.
I live.
I was like a skinny little femboy in high school.
Something I did not know until recently is that a lot of people do not like when someone they're dating has a celebrity crush, and even when I found out that information, I was just like, okay, who give a fuck? Because in my head, I view having a celebrity crush on the same level as a fictional character. I love Megan Thee Stallion. I also know that we are not going to get married. I also know that I will never marry Gojo, which is unfortunate because I can never give him back shots. It is what it is. But tell me why I was in a situation where someone got jealous over K-pop impreg. Let me explain. So boom, I'm 19 years old. It is my sophomore year of college. And during this time, I also recently got into K-pop. Shout out ATs. Shout out to them. ATs got me into K-pop. My best friend has been a K-pop fan since like 2013. You know, she's trying to get me into a group she also likes. She's recommending songs. She's sending me TikTok edits. And there's this one edit in particular. Oh my god, bro, this edit dead had me in a trance. I'm not even joking. This edit was so fire, life-changing, if you will. The idol is already objectively good looking, but something about edits, they just enhance everything 10 times more. So if you're already fine as hell, an edit's gonna make you heaven sent. I was moved. After I watched this edit about 5 times, I just start texting my friend crazy like, this is so embarrassing. Like, everyone talks to their friends like this. I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna put him in missionary, get him pregnant. Something stupid like that. Like, oh, I'm gonna get him pregnant in missionary. She thinks it's funny. She takes a screenshot, puts it in her close friends. We move. Now, for some context, we have a mutual friend. I met this friend through her. He was her friend first. And something I did not know until later on is that he liked me, but that doesn't matter because I didn't like him. No shade or anything. I just don't like him. Not like that. Anyways, I also have a hard time picking up on certain emotions and social cues. So when someone likes me, I am not going to know that unless they say verbatim, I like you. Someone could dead buy me a bouquet of flowers and I'm going to think, wow, this is very nice of you, and continue with my day. All right, so fast forward. Time has already passed. Like, let's say I had this conversation with my best friend at 10 a.m. It's now like 2 p.m. And like I said before, I am a student, so I'm currently studying for my classes and taking a break every hour to read Bottom Gojo Fix, right? So as I'm taking a study break in the middle of my Bottom Gojo Fix, I kid you not, on my homie's dead dog, I get a notification that says something like, oh, what's this about missionary? Come again? So of course, getting a text like this out of nowhere, I'm just like, what the hell is this clown talking about? Like, I know, is he trying to get freaky with me? Because we're not going to do that. That's what we're not going to do. I don't know what type of girl best friend nonsense you would do in the past with other people, but I don't roll like that. So then I ask, what are you talking about? Because what are you talking about? Then he's like, Jin and missionary, guys. Why is this man talking about Jin of BTS? He was referring to the screenshot on my friend's close friends, which I don't care that he's in the close friends. Of course he is. They're good friends. But it's like, why are you confronting me about my impreg activities? Then I say, what the hell? And he's like, don't act surprised. Yes, I'm acting surprised because why are we having a conversation about this? Anyways, I ignore him for the rest of the day because I don't have time for that. Fast forward to later on that week. We FaceTime or whatever. Guys, why does he say again? So why do you want to put Jin in missionary? Oh, brother. Oh, brother. Why are you still on this? You think I'm gonna get Jen pregnant all the way in Korea? Do you want me to get you pregnant instead? Sorry, I don't have the equipment to do that. Then he proceeds to Google search Jen and say, he ain't even all that. I know you are not getting jealous of Jen right now. I know I'm going to pretend that you are not getting jealous at the concept, at the idea of me impregnating Jen of BTS. Then he finally dropped the topic because out of all things to argue about, to have a conversation about, why this? Anyways, fast forward 3 months later, ended up blocking him over some other weird stuff he did. So thank you, Jen of BTS, for being the very first domino into opening my eyes.